Hello everyone, Silently here. Welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. In this one, I'll be showing you how to build a very simple, cheap, and rather efficient bamboo farm for your world. This farm will get you around 10,000 bamboo per hour, which is honestly quite good, and it's infinitely expandable as well. So if you want to get yourself like 100,000 bamboo per hour, you can totally do so using this farm. And as you can see, we're not using any bone meal in this farm whatsoever. We're using a very simple, amazing little flying machine to automatically harvest all of our bamboo forest. Honestly, really quite nice, and would highly suggest building this in your world if you want to get yourself an absolute load of scaffolding or infinite easy fuel. So what could you possibly need tens of thousands of bamboo for? Well, simply put, you can use it for smelting. A single stack of bamboo will smelt 16 items. So if you pair this with a kelp farm, you could get automatic kelp without really any crafting whatsoever, and then churn this dried kelp here into kelp blocks, and then use those kelp blocks for actual smelting and actual furnace needs. Basically 100% automatic fuel system without any need for refueling it with the kelp that you're getting out of it. Honestly, kind of nice. Or you could use it for the scaffolding, of course. So the main feature of this bamboo farm is the two-way flying machine that we're actually using to harvest everything. Now, earlier today, I spent about 4 or 5 hours actually trying to make my own two-way flying machine, and I was successful. I got a very reliable flying machine, and no glazed terracotta, no nothing. It was like a standard, nice flying machine, really quite nice. But then I tried to use it for something useful, like a bamboo farm, and it just completely broke and backfired. I have no idea why. I'm just gonna roll it off as bug rock and kind of move on with my day. So yeah, I'm back to using this design from Blazing King YouTube, and you may recognize it because it is the same design that I used in my Blaze Farm 3.0, which I just posted a couple days ago as well. And honestly, and now that I know two-way flying machines exist on Bedrock, I'll likely be making a few more farms with these, so you guys can look forward to some more farms on the channel here soon. So just how much bamboo does this farm really produce? Well, I just did a full harvest where all the bamboo was grown up to its maximum height, and we usually get about 5,000 or so bamboo from that kind of harvest. So that is enough to fill up one double chest and a single one as well, which is pretty awesome. No idea how you're going to store all of this because, of course, that is, kind of a lot that's going to back up all of your hoppers. So you guys will have some fun times in designing some sophisticated storage systems for all of this. And I just really have to say that all of this is extremely loud. But this system out here in the back is actually quite necessary because each one of these bamboo plants can grow up to 16 blocks tall, and we have 14 of them in a row, and that is an absolute ton of bamboo. So we do actually need this kind of, multi-minecart unloading system. Luckily, this is actually super easy to build up, and it isn't that expensive, so I don't think you guys will have too big of a deal with this in your world. But the main reason why we need a system like this is because hopper minecarts can only store 5 stacks, and as you can see, this one got up to 4 stacks already. So it might be a tiny bit more than we need, but that's fine. I'd rather it be a tiny bit overkill than underkill and you guys losing items from it. But yeah, as you can see, you just get an absolute load of bamboo from this. It is quite a bit. I love it. So this farm really only has one flaw that I can think of, and that is that sometimes when you're harvesting pretty regularly, you will get a little bit of extra bamboo shot into this area here. We should see that happen. Yeah, as you can see, you can get a little bit extra bamboo back here. Honestly, I've never seen it be more than about, half a stack or so. And actually, a lot of that just got swept right back out, didn't it? That was kind of nice and clean, actually. So how much of this? That's like 10. Yeah, it's not really that big of a loss, if we're being honest. If you did want to collect all of that extra bamboo, you could simply run a hopper minecart underneath this area as well. But from a farm this size, 10 bamboo loss is not a problem whatsoever. And yeah, as you can see, there's a couple more on this side. There's like one there. There's a few more over there. Overall, 23 loss from a max size full harvest. So very, very little. It's like 1%. So like I said at the beginning of the video, this is a fully expandable farm. You can make this literally whatever size you want and get theoretically infinite amount of bamboo per hour. So the one thing that you are limited by with this design is width. So right now we are limited to 14 wide just because of our flying machine. Our flying machine can only cover 14 blocks. As you can see, it does this little stretch right here on its way back. Not too big of a deal. So what you would do if you want it to be wider than 14 is you basically just build two sections. So one section over here and another one right here and just make it share a wall basically. Not too big of a deal whatsoever. If you're smart with your hopper minecarts and your unloading system, then you could make it wider, but you would have to do some shenanigans with the flying machines as well. And honestly, it's easier just to make it all 14 wide and make the farm instead longer if you want to get more output from it. So let's hop into the tutorial, shall we? So this is going to be a pretty simple build. We're going to work on the rail lines first, and then the bulk of the build, and then the flying machines afterwards. And because you can build this farm at basically any size that you'd like, I'm going to be including a loose materials list for this project in the description box down below. But what I've gotten marked out here is a 16 wide area by 34 blocks long, and that is just enough room to make that farm right there, which will produce around 10,000 bamboo per hour. Now, the very edges of this rectangle here is going to be for our walls. So essentially on the inside of this, we're going to have a 14 by 32 block area of dirt or grass for our bamboo. Now, this lower part here is just for all of our rails. On top of this, we're going to have our actual grass. And then on top of that, we're going to have our bamboo finally. So once you've kind of marked all of this out in your world and you got all this ready to go, then we can move on. It's not really necessary, but if you want to go through the extra effort, you can go ahead and chunk align this farm. I'm sure it's not going to be a problem if you don't chunk align it, but if you want to, you can. So what I've done here is I've dug out a little bit of an extra area off the side of here, and this is for all of our unloaders and all of that redstone and water streams and stuff. And this is just 4 blocks off of the farm. It's an extra 4 blocks down as well, and then it goes 2 blocks underneath your actual, floor down here. So this is lined up right with the walls of our farm. And basically what we're going to be doing here is laying in all of our different rails. You don't need to use 100% powered rails like I am, but if you got the gold, you might as well. And there we go. So we're just going to put an extra block on there. So right here on the edge of your farm, right underneath your wall, you need a hopper facing downwards, and you also want a powered rail above that with another block right there. So underneath of this hopper, you want to go ahead and install a dropper facing this way, kind of towards the center of your farm. You then want to go ahead and get a solid block right here, or sorry, 1 block higher. And then you want a comparator reading from that hopper. Go ahead and put another solid block in front of that, a sticky piston facing downwards, observer on the front of that, another observer right there, and then just a couple blocks up, and a piece of redstone dust. So that is our automatic dropper circuit. So anytime that an item goes into this hopper right here, it will automatically get shot out by the system, and it won't leave any items behind, which is pretty fantastic. You're also going to want to go ahead and maybe start laying down the foundations of your water stream. The water stream is just going to go all along this edge right here. You can go ahead and test out this system if you'd like. Just place down a button and some items up there. The hopper minecart will, of course, go around, pick up all the items, and then once it gets back to here, it'll automatically shoot everything out. So now what you need to go ahead and do is you need to build up the same system right here all the way along the edge of your farm. So that could get a little bit expensive, a little bit fast, but the bigger the farm you build, the more of these you need. The smaller the farm, the less of these you need. So if you ain't got the resources, build a smaller farm. And yeah, this is pretty simple. Basically, you want a dropper every other block, and you just build up the same little system every other block so there is a 1 block gap in between these. And you do the same kind of rail system as well. So rail goes that way, turns around at the corner, bounces back into a block, and then goes that way. So let me get this all in place, and I'll show you what it looks like. And thanks to the power of clone commands, all of this stuff is now fully built up. And as you can see, all the carts are riding in unison, looking pretty fantastic if I do say so myself. So one thing that is very important is that you make sure that your final cart is actually a single track only. And that is because the flying machine actually carries a ton of bamboo on top of it, and it all gets dropped off right here. So if you made this final one a double track, like both of these, then it would have some problems picking up items. And that might mean, depending on how long your farm is, that both of these last ones are single tracks. So it would end, a little bit something like that. That is perfectly fine because this little unloader system over here can actually be tiled right next to each other. So to do that, you just build it up right next to each other. And then one of these would simply need a repeater right here. That is not too hard to do. So now we need to install all of our water streams. So you want to come down here right in front of all your droppers, and you want a solid floor in place and also solid walls on both sides, of course. And we're going to be pushing all of the items towards the front of the farm over there. That is the front where our flying machine is going to be sitting and where all of our items are going to be going. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Go ahead and place in a water source in front of your very furthest back dropper, and then just kind of walk along until you stop seeing water. This is where we stop seeing water. We're gonna go ahead and place down blue ice in that location, underneath that bit of water, underneath that one, and that one right there. Now, typically we would place the pressure plate right there, right at the end of the water, but because it's in front of a dropper, we're gonna move it back by one. You don't want any pressure plates in front of droppers because then you'll lose a massive amount of items. So yeah, just do your little repeating section like this on every section. Now we have the additional blue ices here because I found that that really helps take all the items to the end instead of some getting lost or stuck. So yeah, just make sure you install all of the additional blue ices wherever you may need them. And now it is time for the bulk of work on your farm, and that is installing the floor and also your walls as well. This farm does not technically need a ceiling, but you could install one if you wanted to cap the height at which your bamboo grows. Anyway, we want to go ahead and place in dirt pretty much everywhere that there is rails, except leave your 1 block edge on the, edges, of course. And yeah, basically just either build this out of dirt or grass and you will be just fine. And then all around the edges, you want to go ahead and make a 17 block tall wall and just trace that out. So we need the wall to be 17 tall simply because the bamboo grows up to 16 tall. And if we have it 17, then no bamboo will ever pop out on top of your wall and be lossy. And the bulk of our farm is now completely built up. It is looking pretty good. So I went ahead and installed a couple leaves here on the front of the farm. This is where all of our items are going to be going towards and where our flying machine is about to be built. And this is of course right at the 2nd block height, just so that our flying machine can slot in here just fine. And what we're going to do is go ahead and place any kind of solid block right here that you like. I'm just going to use glass, and then we're going to go over by 7 with slime blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Place in yourself an observer facing towards the farm, a sticky piston right there, another slime block, a piece of glazed terracotta, and then one more normal piston right there. You should probably go ahead and expand your floor a little bit because you're gonna need the walking area. You wanna go ahead and get yourself a piece of glazed terracotta behind there, a piece of obsidian right behind that piston as well. And then you want yourself some solid blocks in the floor right here. So just remove these 5 blocks, solid blocks in all of those locations, redstone dust, repeater on 4 ticks, repeater on 2 ticks, repeater on 4 ticks again, observer facing downwards right there with another piece of redstone dust on top of it. And actually that can just be a block right there. And then you want yourself a 1 block gap and go over by 6 with slime blocks. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Have another kind of filler block on the edge so your flying machine doesn't stick to your walls. Get yourself an observer going into this back slime block with a piece of obsidian in front of it. Then get yourself a piece of glazed terracotta in front of this sticky piston, another sticky piston right there, and one more slime block right there. And that is actually your entire flying machine complete. What you can do from here is just go ahead and kind of encase this entire area with a little bit of leaves. That way all of your bamboo doesn't get launched completely out of your farm. It's all kind of contained to this one little area. And now we need to flip around to the back side of the farm and install the return station for your flying machine. So as you can see, I've installed a little bit of leaves just on the top and bottom lip right here. And what you need to do is from this very edge of your wall right here, go out by 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go out by another 4, 2, 3, and 4. And then right here, and this kind of corner right here, you want to have a piece of obsidian. And this is what we're going to be working off of. So you want yourself an observer right there, going into a solid block with a block down, another block up, and one more block down right there, going into a piston, repeater on 4 ticks right there, and then a piece of redstone dust. And then you just kind of want to make sure that this entire floor right here is all leaves or pretty much whatever you like. Most of this is not going to get touched by your slime blocks, but leaves are super cheap, so there's no reason to not make it out of leaves, right? Anyway, you can kind of just box in this entire area. So now you can go ahead and test this thing. Just put a button on top of that block that should launch your flying machine, and then eventually it'll reach this return station over here, and it should go back the other way. And now we need to install our minecart activation system. So just line yourself up with this set of pistons right here. Install yourself an observer in this block, a block behind it, and a block down, a piece of redstone dust, and repeater on 4 ticks. That just goes into this redstone line, which activates all of your minecarts. So this observer will detect when your flying machine leaves and also when it comes back. So your minecarts will get activated twice for every time your farm harvests. And honestly, that is more of a pro than a con because it helps them keep up with all the items. We also need a hopper clock underneath this thing. So go ahead and remove that block above that observer. Replace a block down beneath it. Redstone torch. A repeater right there with a block right here. A redstone dust on top of it. A comparator. 2 blocks gap. Another comparator. And then just hoppers facing into each other. A block up right there, piece of redstone dust, and then just pistons on both sides of these, and a redstone block in between them. And I would say put about 4.5 stacks of blocks in here, or items in general. And now it is time for the funnest part of this entire project, and that is actually going in and planting all of the bamboo. And that is pretty much all there is to it, just a single piece of bamboo on every single block. And pretty much as soon as you have all of them placed in, you can just go ahead and activate the farm. And if you want to, you can just install a little bit of an on and off switch down here or wire that up however you want. The simplest on and off switch is just gonna be a lever like right there. So as you can see, this farm is working just fine, looking glorious as always, and these minecarts are just collecting hundreds and hundreds of items. Pretty much full on its first run. Yeah, as you can see, you really do need this kind of unloading system because you get just an insane amount of bamboo every single harvest. As long as you let it grow up maximum. If you're not letting it grow up maximum, then of course it is a little bit overkill, but I wanted to make sure that it was fine, it could handle any situation. And that is going to do it for this Minecraft Bedrock Edition tutorial. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns or criticism, then please do let me know in the comment section down below. Always trying to help you guys out and always reading the comments because comments are amazing. If you guys are new here, maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss the next tutorial. And if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like as well. But thank you very much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. I will see you guys down in the comment section and in the next video. And then there was silence.